From here in the banqueting hall, we're going down into the inner temple where the Hellfire Club met. Some theories suggest that the caves were intentionally created to a sexual design based on a woman's anatomy, but it's not in the National Trust literature. So this is the inner temple. There was a lot of wine and wenching, as John Wilkes put it. Drunken members of the political class in a debauched 18th century gentleman's club, dressed up as monks, secretly worshipping Satan in a specially made cave filled with prostitutes they refer to as nuns, is not something we'd want to defend. But there is the rub. It is always the things that we don't like that are used to deny our liberty today. We can reject filth and the degradation of women by arguing our case, but not being allowed to read and know the worst denies us the right to make judgments altogether.
Have you ever heard of someone called John Wilkes?
No.
I'm not going to go to the MP's house to check if he's doing the right thing. That's why I buy the Sun and I buy the newspapers. So yes, freedom of the press must be allowed.
Lastly, have you heard of John Wilkes?
Who is John Will?
I'm outside the home of Mick Hume, journalist, author, and outspoken press freedom advocate. Mick Hume has famously opposed the Leveson inquiry and the regulation of the press. In his book, There Is No Such Thing as a Free Press and We Need One More Than Ever, he describes John Wilkes as a scoundrel and a publisher of filth, while still acknowledging him as a single-handed pioneer of the free press. In good old tabloid doorstepping style, I've come to find out why. Mr. Hughes, can I ask you some questions on John Wilkes?
Well, I suppose, in the spirit of the age, I ought to really say no comment and set the dog on you for doorstepping me on a Saturday afternoon. But seeing as it's about John Wilkes, I'll make an exception. What do you want to talk about?
Excellent. Well, I wanted to ask you, why do you give an 18th century rake and pornographer so much credit?
I think the thing is that I wrote about in my book that John Wilkes is a hero. He's one of the outstanding heroes of English history. He's a hero of the struggle for a free press, without whom we wouldn't have a free press today. He's a hero of the struggle for liberty and democracy. But the thing is, like all real heroes, as you indicate, he's had feet of clay.
We've been talking to a lot of people on the streets, and nobody seems to know who he is.
No.
Although in America, he's quite famous. Why do you think that is?
Well, of course, we live in a country in Britain where everyone likes to pretend we never had a revolution.
Hi, my name is Tiba. I was born in Eritrea in 1977. To cut a long story short, there was war in my country, and basically I had to leave Eritrea and come to Britain to seek for a better life. I had to pass the citizenship test. Basically involves answering questions regarding life in Britain. I was quite hilarious, to say the least, because none of my British friends, including my husband, could answer any of them. And I have to say that being in London, the only time I've experienced bad treatment or what I call close racism is mainly from the Home Office and how I got treated badly by the Home Office. In the future, I'd like my children to have the choice to go and live wherever they want to live. So if they fell in love with somebody, on the other side of the world, I'd love for them to go and live that life. And also for my mum to come here and meet her grandkids, or for me to go and take them and show them the places that I grew up in, and and for all of us to be able to move freely. Restricted movement only slows the human progress, because without movement we do not progress, because we will be prisoners wherever we are.
I'm against the drug testing and against the banning of people for lives and wrecking their careers for a number of reasons. First of all, because there's no evidence the drugs work. So it seems a damn silly game in any case. Secondly, because what athletes already do is no different from taking drugs. And I suppose that is a part of the fact that I'm a clinical scientist and do try to do things that seem to be justifiable logically, and it's totally illogical. But beyond that, I don't like it because this is interfering unnecessarily in other people's lives.
It's a problem that athletes are inclined to push their performance to a level which may cause damage to their health. But that's something that athletes have themselves to take responsibility for. It's not something which the state or sporting authorities can take control over.
It is absolutely criminal. One of the few ski results we got some years ago, and the poor lad had just taken a nasal sniffer and his medal was taken away. He never, ever was able to ski again. You destroy someone's life and their career. You destroy the pleasure to all of us, all because of some stupid rule for an effect that's never been proved. I think it's a disgrace, and we should stop that.
We're here to look at life during the Blitz and on the home front during the Second World War as part of our examination of austerity for the recession today.
What was it like living in Hackney during the Blitz, like the atmosphere and the environment and such?
Well, it was a friendly place.
Yes, yeah.
A lady along the balcony, she never had any children,
Mrs.
Varian.
And Mrs. Varian, yeah, and Mrs. Weller. Yeah.
She had lots of sort of evening dresses and things. Well, as you couldn't get material, she dug all these dresses out and gave them to Mum, and she made us all our clothes.
Yes,
she was clever like that. She made us all our pyjamas and blouses and things.
Coats even.
Yeah, out of the ladies' cast-offs,
Yeah.
because you couldn't get anything.
She made me a coat out of a blanket once. I don't know if you remember that. I hated it. I thought everybody knew I was wearing a blanket.
The House of Lords today has suggested we relearn to darn, knit, sew and repair our clothes and stop buying the cheap stuff that we throw away so readily. Would we really want to return to this domestic toil, and do we need to?
The sort of one egg each a week, it would have been given to the children. The mum wouldn't have had an egg, I don't suppose, all the wartime, perhaps, you know.
We always shared an egg, didn't we? Because I liked the white of the egg and Jean liked the yolk, so it worked out quite well, really. Yeah, that was good. Yeah, our little boiled egg. But I was always hungry.
Today, aspiring to have less instead of demanding more will not put growth back on the agenda, and that we believe is where we should focus our attention. We certainly shouldn't reinvent the Blitz.
It was Irish sweat and labour here, where we're standing, that made the docks, the London docks, Irish sweat and labour. And north, just north of the Irish, towards the Whitechapel section, was the Jewish section. Both of them were dedicated to the defence of this area, which was to be invaded by a fascist army under Oswald Mosley on October the 4th, 1936.
I think there are two important things to say about the Battle of Cable Street, and some of them are misunderstood. The first one is that it's assumed to be a battle between Oswald Mosley's fascists and the people of East London. But in fact, the battle was three-way between the fascists, the police, and the people of East London.
There were women throwing filth and dirt and emptying garbage onto the police. And I was standing only 150 to 200 yards away from here. And they actually captured two of the policemen at the time. They took them round here, actually.
They had to take on an anti-Semitic British establishment. Mosley was a member of that establishment, and he thought it was entirely uncontentious to be anti-Semitic. And if you read any of the documents of the Conservative Party, whether it's from Churchill through to Baldwin, or even to the Daily Mail and the Daily Express, the Rothermere Press, entirely anti-Semitic. This image of mass activity is very much derived from the political traditions, the cultural traditions of aesthetic modernity. The most positive element of it is that the original artist, Dave Binnington, wanted to do something which reinvigorated an active political tradition. You could only reinvigorate it by talking about the rights of the Bangladeshi population to good housing and opposition to the government's asylum and immigration policy. And if you wanted to do that, and let's hope we do, only then could you make the Battle of Cable Street a living memory for the population of this area.